Hello my Libra friends, I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer. Welcome to my channel, list of essential oils and their uses, and today we're looking at how essential oils can help you traverse the astrology of July 2020. I'm going to use the Tongue of the Trees cards, some cards that I designed, co-created with Hungarian aromatherapist Gergely Halodi. Excuse me. Originally, they were created to be able to see to the base of a problem. If people have physical pain in their body, quite often we find there's emotional stuff going underneath it, and it was designed to be able to track back and see if we could work out how to treat it from the emotional point of view. And to do that, I created the Ring of the Trees spread. So it's 13 cards. Now what's interesting is I've since discovered that using the Ring of the Trees spread, I can also see forward instead of backwards, and look at how that would work with the major planetary transits through the month. So there's some big stuff happening this month. Saturn's going to retrograde into Capricorn. That's not easy medicine for any of us. Full moon in Capricorn to the end of the eclipse season for the Capricorn Cancer axis. And on the 11th, Chiron turns retrograde into Aries, the wounded healer. Mercury will go direct again after it been retrograde since the 18th of June, goes forward on the 12th of July. And on the 20th of July, we have a new moon in Cancer. And again, this Cancer Capricorn axis, what does that mean to you, Libras? And also on the 22nd, yes, the Sun moves into Leo. So let's call out your first 13 cards. And then what I'll do is tell you a little bit more about how they work. And then I'll turn the camera around so that you can see the reading laid out. So I think, where do we want to stop for Libra? Oh wow, we talked about Chiron. Chiron is helichrysum. Nice card to start with. Lemongrass. Lemongrass says, what if we have hurdles, we cannot overcome them, what if we could? The cedarwoods. Cedarwoods are working hard right now because everybody's got lots of anxiety and negative thoughts going on. You've got the more sacred of the two. Oh, again, another healer. This is Achille millefolium, named after Achilles. Remember him with his Achilles tendon? These are nice oils you've got. Oh, my arch enemy. That and rosemary, neither, we just don't get on. Peppermint, but very helpful for focusing the mind. Interesting stuff. Oh, nice one. Look how far you've come so far, that says. See my card? Sandalwood. Sandalwood. This was the first card to be manufactured, and there was a printing error. So in its time, this will be worth millions, but it will be so dirty by then. So this one's Sandalwood. If you get your own pack, which the details down below of how you can do that, you will have a D on the end of Sandalwood. Oh, manifestation. Neroli. Angelica. Oh. Angelica's about the beginning, the end of the old world to the beginning of the new. Scots pine. It's coming out over and over and over again. And what's interesting, I like to see in these readings right now how many respiratory medicines are coming out. This is a tremendously strong respiratory medicine. And so it will be used lots by people choosing with their conscious minds about coughs, colds, not being able to breathe, all of that awful stuff that's going on. But when you use it, what else is happening? Because like I say, essentials don't have side effects, they have many main effects. And so they play out across the physical body, but also the mental, the emotional and the spiritual body, as well as the physical stuff. So when that comes out, we think, right, okay, What else is it going to teach me? Because these are the teachers. Oh wow, speaking of teachers. Sacredness of galbanum. One of the most sacred of all incenses, particularly to the Egyptians. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2 more. Oh, orange. Positive, positive, positive. And this is where you are today. I think that if you're feeling good, that's very lovely. What's coming? Oh, wow. This is fascinating card that this comes up because, like I say, these cards are designed to talk to the unconscious mind, to block out the conscious mind. But Petit Grand goes, I got stuff to teach you there too. So that's your outcome. I am fascinated to read back and see what these do. So the cards are, like I say, designed for emotional healing, mental healing, spiritual healing. But from my point of view, I am a pain practitioner. I don't look like a pain practitioner. Hopefully I look more like the medical astrologer that I also am. But what I see when I'm treating pain and when I'm teaching aromatherapists to treat pain is quite often in the mental, in the physical body, what you'll see is no MRI is going to bring up any information that's going on, because it's not a physical thing happening. It's an emotional, I call it issues in the tissues playing out. So the oils are designed, the cards are designed to be able to go back and say, right, okay, how do we unravel and start to speak to that issue in the tissue to kind of allow the tissues to open and allow the thorn to come out so that the pain leaves us. So that's what they're for. But as we worked harder on creating them, we realised that there was so much information missing from the standard texts of aromatherapy. So each card also has in its little bucket information about, there's a poem that we'll see the poems in the next bit that speaks as if the oil is speaking to you, because the oils do speak to me. But also we talk about the traditional Chinese medicine of each plant, the Ayurvedic medicine, but also the Western medical astrology, which going back to some of the teachings of like cold pepper and the old stuff before we had antibiotics. And so with the cards, there's also a knowledge base that you can buy separately. It's a video database that goes deeply into all of these ancient philosophies. And so this is what we're going to draw on now. I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll look at all of these energies of how they're working and how they're playing and interacting with the planetary movements for July. So I'm looking forward to doing your reading, Libra. I'll turn the camera around. Hello, Libra. Welcome to your cards. Now, when I was drawing them out, it was hard to see what was happening until I laid them out and then I compared them to your transits for the month, and then it's really clear what's going on. So just to let you know, apologies first of all for the state of my nails. I did polish them and then the dog jumped on me and it all went wrong, so I had to come off. So here, this is where we come in. This is number 1 card. And the cards go outwards in a ring as if we're watching the evolution of the plant growing, because of course this is the evolution of you through the months. So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So at first sight, this looks, I have to say, this looks traumatic. But when I've gone into it, I've thought, no, I know what this is about, because all of your stuff this month really is 4th house and 10th house stuff. So what does that mean? Well, on the 2nd of the month, Saturn is retrograding into your 4th house, and it's already joining Pluto and Jupiter are already there. Your 4th house is home. So Jupiter is expansion, Pluto is transformation, and Saturn is restrictions and boundaries and time. So because it's retrograding, what we're finding is we're revisiting, and we come in here, and as I say, this would normally say to me trauma, but because this is the wound that will not heal. But I think actually, normally, our power cards would be here and here, but I think this probably sums the whole reading up, because Galbanum says, who am I? Who am I? Why am I the way that I am? Who are my ancestors? What did they give to me? And the whole of this reading seems to pertain to those questions. Because home, of course, is more than four walls, isn't it? It's a metaphysical thing of where the heart is, the people around us, the relationships that happen between those people, and the politics that exist in there. And I always talk about, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Helichrysm, imagine that you are a pair of identical twins. One twin is really naughty. So the other twin lives with the burden of always being second in attention, always being compared or mistaken for this person who is always so naughty. And there's no way out of that cycle for him. It is the wound that cannot heal. And that's what helichrysm is. It cannot heal. So imagine too then that you... a woman gives birth to a stillborn child, tragically. And it's awful. It rips her to pieces, of course, that it would. But over time, she decides that the best way to heal herself will be to help other people come to terms with the fact that they too have borne stillborn children. So that there is that trauma, that awful, awful trauma that's turned into gold. See how it's gold? It's an everlasting thing. It's called everlasting. And what we see with it, if I've written a book about helichrysm, if you wanted to read it, because it is a really fascinating story of the plant, really, a lost story. And if you go to look at any Roman museums, what you might see is some necklaces that were brought up from tombs at Hawara. And they were placed around the necks of dignitaries and warriors and highborn people. They were the people that their society were most proud of and wanted to endow. And if you look at them now, they look just like that. They're just as fresh as when they were born. They've lasted 2,000 years. And this is what we see with helichrysm, that this stuff doesn't change, it doesn't go away. So as you come into the month, you are immediately have this highlighted by Saturn going back in. We're revisiting something, it's karmic. Saturn rules karmic things. So this will be a wound that has come up over and over and over for you. And you feel like you're in a cul-de-sac. There's no way of getting past it. There's no way of that changing. It just is. What's beautiful is you're followed with one of the most powerful oils there is for cul-de-sacs. So imagine that these are hurdles and one cannot get over the hurdle. And lemongrass goes, I understand. You're absolutely true. There's no way of getting around this. But let me just for a second ask you, if we considered that, and we appreciate that none of those could be changed and said, but what if they could, what would it look like? And lemongrass just brings creativity like no other oil. It's out of the box thinking. It's not seeing that hurdle anymore, just thinking, right, well, I can't go over it. Helichrysm says you have to go through it. Whatever this is, you have to go through it to understand it at the most visceral level, to have been that identical twin, to have been that mother of a stillborn child. You have to go through it. Lemongrass says we're at the end of the cul-de-sac. I know a way through. I know a way through. And he helps you see it. Now, beautiful, beautiful cedarwood. We have two cards called cedarwood Virginia and cedarwood Atlas. Cedarwood Atlas is the true cedarwood. It's the most ancient and very protected and treasured oil. I'm going to bring it forward in case you can't see it on the screen. It's been used since the beginning of time by man for sacred things. So in Egypt, cedarwood grows incredibly long and incredibly tall. And I don't know if you know, ancient Egypt had no indigenous trees. It had shrubs, nothing with long trunks. So the cedar woods of Lebanon, for example, were treasured the world over. And what they would use them for is for their ships, because they were lovely, long, flexible pieces of wood, but also for their temple doors. And if you go to visit Egypt now, you can see the stumps left behind on the stonework, that it's so loyal, strong, steadfast, it doesn't rot. So all these years later, we still see the evidence of the century standing still. And imagine then we're going into that temple, we open the door and we slam the heavy wood behind us, and outside of that, all noise is left behind. And cedarwood's most wonderful gift is its ability to deal with negative thoughts. If you live with these niggles all of the time, in fact, if we live with this, well, it can't be changed, it's just the way it is, continually in the background, then cedarwood slams the door on it, and you are left in this beautiful temple of quiet space. The ceiling is tall and wide open. There is so much air in the windows. Imagine in the church how the stained glass glows. You can't see it from outside, there's too much noise outside, but in the quiet space you understand a different part of reality. And that is cedarwood Atlas. Now here, this is really interesting relationship, because this is your Achilles heel. Achille millefolium. Millefolium is the 1,000 leads. Achille means of Achilles. It heals everything. And it's transformed by heat. If you get some yarrow oil, it's blue. Well, there's nothing about that says blue. The plant is usually white. And it's the heat of distillation that changes it. That's what brings about the magic. And when that heat hits, it forms a wonderful constituent called comazolene. And comazolene is liquid anaesthetic. This is particularly for the heel that doesn't heal. Didn't mean to say that. But the Achilles heel that is always your weakness, you know. Spiritually, psychologically, physically, yarrow is magnificent for that. And we will be able to see here what that is. In that quietness, it will become very obvious. And cedarwood Atlas says to you, stand still in that place and stare. And what you are afraid of will stand before you. And you will not feel afraid. And you will be able to stare it in the eye. No words will come, no negative thoughts. No words will come, and you will overcome. You will realise it has no strength. And when you come off the battlefield, yarrow is always growing plentifully around the battlefield to heal any kind of injury that you sustain. This is all very quiet. That's upbeat. That's quiet. That's quiet. That is a smack in the teeth. Peppermint says, I am the navigator of a ship on the moonlit sea. Everything around you is quiet. Here I am strong, deliberate, focused thoughts. Peppermint is really good at being able to focus the thoughts, to be able to get, these are ideas. That's inspiration. That is logic. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So this is creative, but this is stuff that you know, that you are used to using, but haven't perhaps realised in all this melee that you can use this information to apply to whatever your situation is. Whatever this wound that will not heal, you already know the answers. You just haven't applied them before. And from all this quietness, then you have this beautiful, beautiful cardamom, which seems very, very simple when it says contentment. And I always think it's like sitting in a Bedouin tent on holiday, and you've had the most beautiful rich meal and gorgeous sweets, and they bring you your coffee, your lovely Turkish coffee with some cardamom in, and you just sit there and you're looking at the moonlit sky, and you do this long sigh and you just think, I am in heaven. But you know that it cannot last. You just have to treasure it for that moment. And cardamom says, just a minute. Look how far you've come. Just stop striving for a moment. Look how far you've come. Just enjoy this richness just for a moment. So to me, that says here, when you've had this logic and you started to apply it yourself, you get very quick results, because it's telling you to look back in appreciation very early on in the reading. Normally you'd expect that to come over here, but here we're back in these two here. These are the power cards, usually very spiritual oils, both of them. And sandalwood is ruled by the Aquarius Pisces cusp. So Aquarius is about other people, about the collective, if you like, and innovation, whereas Pisces is all about the emotions. And if you're not careful, you're going to feel like you're swimming in the emotions of everybody else and trying to be able to get back to this quiet place and not sure what belongs to you, what belongs to other people. And if that happens, sandalwood is such a great ally. It's calming, it's soothing, it brings the energy right down into a meditative state. Beautiful. And perhaps we should compare that. Here is meditation. This is wonderance, you know, pondering, thinking, whereas Atlas says, I know. So perhaps think of those two things. If you can't work out which one you need to use, and I will make some recipes for you afterwards and put them on slides, but think, right, do I wonder, do I know? If I know and I want to know more, I want to understand, I want to study, research, access Akashic records, cedarwood, Atlas. If I wonder, if I want to roam around, consider, explore, then we are in cedarwood, in sandalwood realm. And what's really fascinating is you've got the oranges next to each other after sandalwood. The orange is a manifestation. Neroli says, what's your thoughts? Think about, as you are exploring your realm, thinking about your ancestry, understanding what's happened to create this person. What's your thoughts? Because wishes turn into things when you use Neroli. She's so anti-anxiety. She doesn't, things just drift away like butterflies. No, she just doesn't let anything. She's ephemeral. Nothing settles in terms of worries. And they drift away like fairies. And in that fairy dust, they become things. So as you're exploring this strange politics that seems to be playing out in your family or your relationships, and you're starting to understand what it is that you're doing, making conscious decisions not to behave in that manner and to behave differently, and starting to explore new things, Neroli says, right, what you picture in the future, I will create. And this is really interesting that Angelica comes there, because that is such a transformational oil. We use it for hospice work, you know, it's deeply, deeply protective. But it's ruled by the Pisces, Aries cusp. Pisces is the old life. Aries, the beginning of the new. So we're getting rid of the old stuff and starting as a baby in a new realm, really. Beautiful. And really, you've got the 2 sentries there, haven't you? I said this is the portal to the temple. That is the sentry. But also we can see that this is standing sentry too. This is very protecting, very nurturing, very calming. Real shamanic stuff going on here. Deep, deep transformation. And so over we go to here. And Scots Pine is an interesting one, because it's the second time that it's turned up in a reading today where it doesn't seem to fit. but it's ruled by Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is philosophy and looking upwards to a more dignified, higher realm, understanding things on a metaphysical basis. And the pine tree is very good at soaring upwards towards the sun and recognizing that everybody needs to be nourished. If you look at a pine forest, you'll see that occasionally there will be small saplings, and because they haven't had enough light, they are weedy. And for the most part though, the whole forest will have grown at the same rate and be just looking after each other in terms of guarding each other from the wind and just getting the same amount of light. And so maybe in the context of this reading, we talk about generosity as the card, but understanding what other people need. And so if metaphorically you are the twin, then that implies that somebody else is involved, something else. And in any kind of politics in a family, there will be other people that get hurt. And this card says you're starting to see that, and you're understanding it, and you're really taking it into consideration. Really, if you have achieved that card there, you should be proud of yourself, because this is deep stuff, and you could easily get drawn into a web of feeling very sorry for yourself and going, well, bugger you, you know, I'm going to look after me. And certainly there is such growth. But here this says, but I understand this is having other effects on other people, and I'm going to look after those too. And like I say, this is a key card. It's rare for a key card to come in that position, I've found. But this is, who am I? What am I? Galbanum's ruled by Osiris, the god of the underworld in Egyptian medicine. And it's easy to mistake the underworld as hell. Underworld is ancient Greek, afterlife. So underworld, afterlife, which either would apply, not hell. Hell is a Catholic construct. The underworld, the afterlife, are the subconscious, and this is stuff relating to the subconscious, stuff that is urges and triggers, and maybe even stuff from lives before that we've carried forward, and we're letting go. You know, we're really spending time working out. That seems like the tiniest thorn, you know, it seems insignificant, but to be able to overcome this part of our karma, this lesson that we've been trying to teach, is transformational for every path of our karma. This is a soul card. And then you have just bright moments. That's the sun, you know. That is just, I feel so happy, so vibrant, so full of life. I have borne fruit. This is, I feel like I've grown something, and I have done what I came here to do. This is great. And your outcome here, Pettigran, strange card to have, full stop really. When we're looking at subconscious medicine, this is conscious. And Pettigran says you have to make deliberate efforts to make this medicine happen. It won't happen on its own. You have to do that journey. You have to have time in the Akashic records. You have to wander around the library. You have to think about the wound that will not heal, and you have to go and look for that yarrow to be able to heal it. Here's your conscious decisions. Here's your manifestation, and you are protected. Beautiful. That's really lovely. I'm quite envious, Libra. Just also to say that if we were looking at things from an energetic point of view, that's quite a fast, driven, motivated oil. So is that. Most of the others are slow, calm, taking their time. And, you know, we're in a time of Mercury retrograde at the beginning of the month. And Libras like to take their time making decisions. I'm married to one, so I know what I'm talking about. And this here says, just live in that medicine, you know. Just don't rush into anything. Take time. It almost feels like time is happy to slow down for you. This is such an important learning process for you, whatever that will be. I doubt that. Well, I suppose the odds are there will be a couple of identical twins out, but you, whatever that wound is, time seems to slow down. When all said and done, we're in a different reality. This isn't three-dimensional stuff. This is five-dimensional stuff. So is that. So is that. It works on a completely different time scale. And so just take your time. Enjoy it. See things through different eyes. Life's about to get really interesting and better. So I hope you found that useful. They're very weird, these cards. When I designed them, and Gergely asked me to write the translations to his to his Hungarian poems, I had to listen to the plants all over again, and to hear them speak to me was very strange and stressful, and I didn't like it, and I didn't think they'd be good. When I got them in my hands and started to work with them, I found them extraordinary. And I hope that you do too. Now, obviously, if you are not a regular follower of my channel because you're not an aromatherapist, like and subscribe now, and comment and share, please. Also, in the description, you will find how to buy the Tongue of the Trees cards, but also how to buy the knowledge base. And remember that they are separate. The cards are available from Fragrant Earth in Glastonbury, and soon will be available from Amazon. So just keep watching, because as soon as they are, you'll get a link in the link below, and that's Amazon UK just at the moment. The knowledge base is a digital platform, and so the second that you pay me £45, I can send it down to you, and there is over 40 different videos in there looking at all aspects of the oil. Also, make sure that you check out my books. If you're a beginner to essential oils, look at download my free book from Amazon, The Complete Guide to Clinical Aromatherapy and the Essential Oils of the Physical Body. Snappy title. I've regretted it ever since I did it. But also, if you are a beginner to essential oils and you're starting to really enjoy them, but you're not confident, perhaps also look for the recipe hub that goes with the Tongue of the Trees. Totally unrelated to any of the readings that we've done, but it's using the cards to make recipes. There's just around about 200 recipes in there. How to make treatments for body lotions, for shampoos, for anything you can think of, from bronchitis to, I can't think of something from beginning with Z, sunburn. Right the way across. So yeah, have a look. Go and have a look at my website. And incidentally, if you would like me to do your own personal reading, if you have a look on my website, thesecrethealer.co.uk, there is a link for consultations. Book an hour-long personal consultation, and yeah, I'll do your own reading. For now, thank you for being generous and all the nice things that you've said, and I look forward to doing your August readings.
So you get your phone you turn it this way up, and then there's a little red subscribe button. Turn it grey by clicking it, and then there's a little bell. Click that and press all at the bottom of your phone or tablet or computer. It'll say you will receive all notifications, and then there's a little hand with a thumbs up. Click that, it'll turn it blue and it says added to your liked videos, and there will be comments, and if you want to, you can send a comment and say like hi's to mum and dad, like, and then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.